Hi, I'm Chris Haigh and this is the Fiddle channel, and today we're going to look at the city of New Orleans. City of New Orleans was a request from Christine, one of my supporters on Patreon. This is a great song from 1971 by Steve Goodman, and it describes a train journey from Chicago to New Orleans, and it describes it in such language that everyone that hears this song thinks, okay, well, I should have a song just like this for my country and my train journey. So in fact, a lot of different sets of words have been written for this song for, in fact, quite a few different European and I think South American countries have the same song but translated. I'm going to give you the original key for this. I'm going to go through all the different sections. And I'm also going to look at the key of D, because there's a really nice Stuart Duncan version of this, and I'm going to give you his solo on that. Let's start off with the basic vocal melody. So here is the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's the chorus. So that's the melody as sung as you might see it written down, but it's not really satisfactory for the fiddle for quite a few reasons. If you're singing this, then you've got the words to kind of explain what's going on. If you've got just a fiddle, then you haven't. So assuming you want to play the melody, then you've got to add various things, including some drones and double stops to emphasize the chords, some slides, some bluesy bits, different ways to make it sound more like a fiddle tune and less like a lame imitation of somebody singing. So let's look at the verse. If you want to emphasize the chords properly, you could start off with a C drone under the G note, and then a B drone under the G note for the next bar, and that would be a B, A drone and a G drone. You could just do, so mostly G drones, and if you were playing it with someone else doing the chords, then that's, I think, probably what you'd do. Next line. So for this bar, if you play an A over the top, that emphasizes the A minor chord, and then put an F under the F chord, and yeah, just adding the B under that G chord will emphasize that. We've got the same again. And to emphasize the final C chord there, I would put in a E note above it on the first finger. And then we've got just one note for 4 bars, which is not really very exciting, but by droning an A over the A minor and then put a B over the E note, then you've got a bit of chordal movement there. And you could also, since there's not much else happening, and because this is a very trainy song, do some shuffling, and that could either be the Nashville shuffle or the Georgia shuffle, as I just did. And I've got videos that explain both of those. So next line. Now this, the D chord is a bit of a surprise chord, and putting in the third note of such a chord, in this case F sharp, is a good idea because it really emphasises that chord. And you might do a little fill in there because there's a space. And going down to that C, you could do a proper rundown with a B, A and G below it. Then it's the chorus. And you could do a F under there. And you could put a C over that note on the C chord. Put an E under or over the A minor. That would work. So you've got lots of different options for thickening up the chords. You would also consider going up an octave because this is fairly low as written at the moment. And that will also give you a different selection of double stops when you do that. So I'm going to go through verse and chorus again. This time I'll do some of it, or maybe all of it, up the octave, and I will add some drones and some fiddly bits. So that then is, I think, interesting enough to be your fiddle solo if you wanted it to be. Now, assuming you were doing this with a singer, then you would want to play some backing rather than just doing the melody. So first job is to work out some double stops, some two-finger chord shapes, and there are lots of combinations. So for a C, for example, starting with the bottom C, you've got an E above that. You've got a G above it, you've got a C above the G, you've got an E below the C, you've got a C with an E above it, you've got a C with a G above it, and so on. If you've not done this before, I don't expect you to learn all those now. But the thing to do is to find something probably fairly low rather than high because we're accompanying. And whatever is your first choice, so that's going to be first choice for the C, and then your next chord, the fingers want to be as close as possible to those. So you don't want to go from C to G like that. You want to go from something like that. So the third finger is going down a step, first finger is coming off. So that's the kind of thing we're going to be looking at. So I've written out all of these different chord shapes, and these are just possibilities. There's lots of other combinations you could use. So having done this, you can do long notes, which it does a job, but it's not very country or rocky or fiddly. So probably your easiest thing to start with will be. So it's off the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's at the heel. It's done with action from the wrist rather than from the arm in a kind of a circle. So let's just go through part of that doing those chops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Shuffle. Here's another shuffle. Here's some long notes. So you got loads of combinations. The 2 shuffles I did were the Nashville shuffle, down, up, down, up, down, up, and the Georgia shuffle, where all of the accents come on a down and the slurs are in 3 slurs up, 1 bow down. And I've got videos on both of those. Okay, now let's look at a solo. So this is a solo based mostly on kind of cliches, very simple fiddly patterns. The solo we're going to follow this with is quite a lot more complex, but this is an easy one. We're going to start off more or less on the melody, but with more fills and more double stops than we had before. And we're going to have more movement towards the end of it. So I'll go through it slowly and then we'll do it up to tempo with the backing. Okay, so we're going to start off with a fairly straightforward melody but harmonised. Then a bit of Georgia shuffle. Now that is a harmony, you might call it a inverted third harmony. The melody is at the top, the harmony is a third above but shifted an octave down, and I call this the scale of sixths. And again, I've got a video all about this. It makes it very easy to harmonise a melody. And those two are very standard little country bluesy licks. And they're using the flattened third of the major scale. So that's a flattened third. Okay, next part, we're going to go into some Georgia shuffle for the trainy bit. So we got an E drone over, and then another E drone over, then a nice flowing line, and that you may recognise as a double shuffle. If you've never done that before, you've got weeks of work ahead of you. If you have, you will recognise it from such tunes as the Orange Blossom Special. And if you want to spend some time learning this shuffle, which is a very useful one, then I've got a video yet again about that. Let's just take it up to there from the middle. Then we've got a descending run. That is a pentatonic scale run. That's more Georgia shuffle. And that is more descending country blues licks. Okay, so let's do all of this solo with the backing. So that is just a suggestion for a solo. If you want, you could just play the melody straightforwardly. You could completely improvise something. You could use some bits of this, or if you really like it, you could copy the whole thing. Now, I mentioned Stuart Duncan. He did a version of this along with Sam Bush and various other great musicians. And he did a really tasteful solo. They were in the key of D. And I'm going to go through this pretty slowly. He's got lots of interesting ideas in his solo. So that's the key we're in. We start just before the bar line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So that's the first half. I'll just break down a few bits of that. We start off in the first bar with a drone over an F sharp, and then fourth finger playing an A and open string playing the same A. And notice he syncopates here. He starts that A just before the bar line. Double A again. And that is a little hammer on from a B to a C sharp. Now, it's very clever what he does here. So he brings in this little lick, which starts halfway through the bar, and then he starts the same lick again, but one beat from the end of the next bar. So in fact, and he does it a third time, but it's different the third time. So I'll just go up to there again. So that's a really good idea for a lick when you want to repeat it, but you don't want to repeat it exactly. You in fact, he's making it into 3 beats so that when he repeats it, it comes in a different part of the bar. And then you've got this really nice ascending run, but it's for 2 whole bars. And if you just did, then you'd be there in no time. So this is a way of kind of having a gradual ascent, but get there by a more roundabout route. And that is his obvious target note. So when he starts there, he already knows where he wants to get to, but he probably hasn't decided exactly how he's going to get there. But he does perfectly. Lovely slide there from the 4th finger to just before the C sharp. Another bit of syncopation. So he hits that B on the last bar and slurs it into the next bar. And then some nice double stops. So that's 1/3, 1/4, open over 2. That's actually 2, open over 2, and then open over 3. So a nice little discord. That's another extended run where he's going from there to there, but he's getting there by the slow route. Now that over the A is probably part of a lick that he uses in lots of different places. That's so neat. I think I'm going to make that into one of my 1 lick 1 minute videos. So and then that is another run down the scale of sixths. And he finishes the solo at the end of the verse. So I'll play all the way through that solo, but nice and slow and with the backing. So I hope you enjoyed this, hope you found it useful. If you would like a PDF of all of the sheet music that I've used here, then do subscribe to the channel and send me an email. And if you want to help keep these videos coming and you would like to get hold of all of my PDFs in one go, do please consider joining me on Patreon. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.